Tonight, a look at what Sandy Hook parents are calling a slap in the face. They are on the attack and they're going after New Jersey Governor Chris Christie after his gun bill veto. Well, tonight, we're hearing from Neil Heslin, who lost his son Jesse in the tragedy. And for the first time in more than a decade, the nation is once again hearing from Monica Lewinsky. She says she still deals with the backlash from her affair with the former president every day and hasn't fully recovered from it. However, the affair seems to have had little to no effect on the Clintons' political career. Did the scandal help put a different face on American politics? Plus, is New York's First Lady ready to put herself on center stage again? There is speculation that Charlene McRae wants to release a memoir that could cause major headlines. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to RFL. I am Richard French, and thank you so much for joining us. And tonight, we begin in New Jersey, where Governor Chris Christie is under attack. Well, the governor, he is facing harsh criticism from many folks, including angry Newtown parents, after he vetoed a gun bill that would have banned ammunition magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. New Jersey law currently permits guns that can hold 15 rounds of ammo. But in his veto message, this is particularly what has raised the ire of many. The governor said banning high-capacity magazines would be, and I'm quoting here directly, trivial and simplistic. And it's a solution, he said, that really didn't fit a complicated problem. Governor went on to say that mass violence will not end by changing the number of bullets loaded into a gun. Well, Wednesday, members of the Sandy Hook Promise organization went to Christie's office asking him to sign that bill. The governor, not only did he not sign it, but he would not meet with the group, and they say his refusal to meet with us is, quote, a cowardly political move, but his statement accusing us of grandstanding and furthering empty rhetoric, his words, is a blow to the memories of our children. Well, let's bring in our panel tonight, and we're very pleased to be joined by Jeannie Zaino, professor of political science at Iona College, as well as a professor of campaign management at NYU, Dominic Carter, political journalist and author, Neil Heslin, who lost his 6-year-old son, Jesse McCord Lewis, in the tragedy at Sandy Hook, and Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. And Neil, thank you again for joining us. And it's important to note that the Sandy Hook families and the organization that's been vocal, they haven't chosen to play politics throughout this, and they've chosen to make their positions heard, but mostly stay out of it. But this time was different, and a lot of it had to do with how the governor, not just that he vetoed it, but how he vetoed it in the language he used.
Yeah, that's correct. I don't know of any of the families or any of the groups in Newtown who have supported any political party one way or another. But you know, it's hurtful the way it was handled by Governor Christie in New Jersey, and the remarks were unjustifiable and I think uncalled for. It's hurtful to me, and I think it was very disrespectful to the lives that were lost that day. Not just the children, but the educators, the adults that lost their life that day. And to say that there's no one answer or one thing that's going to solve or prevent the mass shootings or massacres such as happened in Newtown, Sandy Hook. But any one thing that we can do to help prevent these from happening. In the case of Sandy Hook, in Jesse's classroom, 5 children were murdered, and an assistant teacher and a teacher, Miss Soto. When Adam Lanza, the gunman, was reloading or his gun jammed, Jesse yelled for those children to run. And he was able to get the 11 classmates to run. 2 of them ran into the bathroom, but 9 of them ran out of the classroom. And it was his words and his actions that saved the lives of those children.
Yeah.
And Jesse was murdered right after that. He was shot in the forehead, and he died 2 feet from his teacher. He was killed. I don't know why Jesse didn't run, but if in the case of Sandy Hook, that gunman had smaller magazines, and less rounds in the magazines, it would have given the victims a chance to run, or more of a chance to survive. And that's, it's a change that would have an effect in saving lives in another tragedy, mass shooting. I was to New Jersey 4 or 5 times with Mark Barden and Nicole Hockley over probably the 6-month period. We put a lot of work into getting the support of the New Jersey legislature to support that bill. And
I should say, the majority of New Jerseyans, when polled, supported this piece of legislation.
Yep.
But to us that don't have this personal connection, sometimes you see words in a press release or something, but when the governor accuses proponents like yourself of grandstanding and empty rhetoric, or that it was a trivial approach and the embodiment of reform in name only, it's a real slap in the face, right?
It's more than a slap in the face, yeah. It's it was unjustified. It was uncalled for. When we went there and we spoke with the legislatures, we gave our story. We gave our. We've all become experts on it, not by choice, but on gun violence, mass shootings, and it's a fact that it would have saved lives in Sandy Hook. But we were very diplomatic, very respectful. None of us are residents in New Jersey, so I kind of feel a little bit out of place going there. But we went there giving our story and our knowledge, firsthand knowledge of what happened, and I think Governor Christie at least owes us an explanation I think he owes us an apology because the remarks were uncalled for, unjustifiable, and but I think he should at least give a reason why he didn't support that bill.
And I think he at least owes you to say to your face some of the remarks. You guys have been looking. You've got meetings on Capitol Hill. Yeah. Lawmakers from around the country have at least opened their doors to you and talked to you and heard from your firsthand stories, and you guys haven't been able to secure a meeting at least with the governor to date, right?
That's correct. To my understanding, at one point Governor Christie was supportive of a limit on the magazine capacity. Mm-hmm. That didn't come from him, but to my understanding,
there was a 50, as I remember, that he, last year in fact, he wanted to ban 50 caliber rifles, but that was also part of this, and that was part of legislation that was also vetoed by him, even though last year he supported it. But listen, good and decent people can disagree about what to do for a solution about it, but what caught a lot of people off guard was the tone that was used here.
Yes, exactly, the remark. I think, and also for him being a presidential candidate possibly, I don't think it did him any justice, that remark. If in the event he did run, I think a lot of his actions lately will work against that, but I think he should have at least given us a meeting or given a reason why he didn't. I respect him for not supporting the bill. If he didn't support it for some reason, I can respect that, his decision or his views on it. But to make that remark, and it's hurtful. Mm. I think it's a cowardly way of going about it. And not granting a meeting, not giving a meeting, or not giving any reason why he didn't support it, but also why he made those remarks and those statements.
I wanted to take a chance because we've spoken before. And out of this awful story, you've met some amazing people too. Let's leave the politics out for a second, including a lot of New Jerseyans and first responders, firefighters who didn't even know you guys, but
That's correct.
they've helped raise money, including, we talked about it before, dedication of parks and all the kids' names across Connecticut. So, you know, maybe this didn't go the way that, or at least wasn't handled the way that I think most decent people think it should have been handled in Trenton. But a lot of people in New Jersey, I know you've wanted to make a point about this, have done the right thing by not only the families of Newtown, but also the memories of those children.
Well, the firefighters down in New Jersey, Bill Lavin, him and his group, they started the Sandy Hook Grounds Project, which after Storm Sandy, or actually Oklahoma, when they had the tornado there, they went and they built a playground there. And after we had the tragedy in Newtown, the areas that were struck by Hurricane Sandy, mostly shoreline communities, he's reached out to build the playgrounds in those communities. To date, I think there's been 24 of them done. There's 2 more. One that's going to be built in East Rockaway.
Yeah.
That's the end of the month. I believe that's Noah Posner's playground, and the principals will be in Watertown, Connecticut in September.
And there was a beautiful dedication for Jesse, too.
Oh, it was incredible. I had mixed feelings and mixed emotions about that in the beginning. Just because I was like, it's hard when you talk about your deceased son and what happened. It's always salt in the wound. And but once I went there that Friday when we started the playground, and it was really rewarding. It was incredible, the support from the community and just everybody. And it was really a rewarding feeling. And you know, if I can help make some positive changes come out of something so tragic, the playground is wonderful. We're going to do a memorial, hopefully this year in the town I live in, for Jesse, and we awarded the first scholarship in Shelton. That's where I reside now and where I grew up. And it was a great feeling to be able to hand that check over to really a deserving young lady.
Well, the courage you and so many of those families who went through something unimaginable to parents everywhere, it's something. But the least, I'll say this, the least you guys are owed is at least decency when there's conversations. And people can disagree, that's America, but at least the least you're owed is the decency, given everything that's happened here. And you didn't get that in Trenton, but I certainly wanted to give you an opportunity, Neil, to come on and talk about what was behind this piece of legislation that did make it through.
I have to say it is, you know, with just getting it out of the legislature and getting it to the governor's desk, that bill, that's a big victory right there. It's a win. Not a win-win. If the governor signed it, it would have been a win-win. But I worked very hard in Nevada to get a bill passed last year, and it got out of the House and the Assembly, and it made it to the governor's desk, which he vetoed. But it wasn't even expected to make it to out of the House or the Assembly. So that was another case. It was one big step.
Well, Neil, I know for everybody here, I really appreciate you making it in today, and I wish you continued success going forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, everyone, RFL will be right back right after this.